For this debate is this house bans religious teachings in all educational institutions. Shankajit is in for the motion and Sneh is in against the motion. Shankajit will go first and Sneh will go second.
What I was suggesting is, since Sneh has to speak with a perspective which has already been established by the society, is Sneh up for going first?
Okay, so Sneh should go first.
If Sneh is okay with that,
I'm okay with that. That will add the spice to it.
okay.
So Chaitanya, just give me a second, right, before starting. Okay, so can I start?
Yeah, start Sneh.
So first of all, I would like to open this discussion about that whether religious teachings should be banned in institutes or not. So if we see the way we have progressed and developed, we as human beings, earlier we did not know anything about religion or stuff, and then we were quite together. There was such a beautiful cordial harmony. And now we are under one roof. We know everything which is obvious to us, and now we are just completely ruining everything. The biggest reason for it stands the intolerance or the radical religion favoritism, which is quite prevalent in our society. It's no longer the question of religions existing together, but it's more sort of the question like where we are talking about superiority or supremacy over a particular religion, and we are spreading it like that. We are no longer taking the moral points. We are no longer talking about the logical interpretations of what religion can actually lead to in ways, but we are only talking about how we can say that a particular religion is above another religion by all the myths, the folklores, and the stories which goes on. Second point is that our country is made up of all spells. Like there is a huge plethora of people living down here, and such a comparison can basically lead to erosion, a lot of erosion of the communal fabric, which is already quite eroded in our country. Since we are not so secular, and here we are talking about what like giving religious teachings by ways which are not correct. People here basically do not know what religion can imbibe to people. It can be one of the biggest thing which can bring them together, and it can also be one of the things which can draw them apart. As we saw in the general elections of 2014, that was the biggest one landslide event which brought the whole masses under one roof, and that was the religion card. So basically, it's the religion card which is being played out there. And second is an openness of institution should be there. The basic problem is that intuition should be developed. I would like to state a small example of America, which is based on a similar concept. When the church influence was increasing too much in Europe, so Christopher had this idea that he needs to look for a society, the Masons, such that specifically, where he wanted to state this point that an open society should be based, which should be welcoming to all, and people should be free to express their own viewpoints with no consideration in mind that it should be consolidated and believed to be it exists. It should work on their own way of existence rather than proving or contemplating that I am better than this and I am better than this. Rather, we can take the
Time's up.
pragmatic the dogmatic points should be pushed out from religion in the ways of like we should not talk about the myths, the folklores, and the stories, but we should rather talk about the logical and the situations where what humanity needs those kind of things, like an open attitude where every society can exist. We can also learn from Akbar, right? But that can't mean that we cannot learn from Aurangzeb. That's the whole point. Removing the religious tax doesn't mean that it did a good work. Every purpose which religion serves is for a benefit of people who are sitting higher above us, and they are manipulating it in their very own way. So there needs to be a point where we come under one roof and we take religion not as something which we have to hardly imbibe to, but as something which we can take from every plate and take the flavor of existing as a human, because that's the basic point. Living as a human in solitude is that is what religion has to give to us, rather than making us fight over superiority, because early man survived without religion. So we cannot make it a point that we need things as a very what a hardcore thing to survive. That is how I would like to wrap up my.
Okay, Shankajit, start.
Okay, I found it really difficult to understand whether my fellow opponent was actually speaking against the motion or for the motion, because let me just state some of his points and contradict them. He spoke about the time when UK was evolving as a kingdom, right? So there they had this famous notion that divided the state from the religion. From there came the meaning of democracy, which now states that the state, the executive, and the state, the executive, and the legislature are different. So it came from there. And if we are considering that, UK at its when it was evolving, UK was the first one of the first states that divided the state and the religion and said that the religion cannot interfere with the matters of the state. So on that note, I would like to state what religious humility is, and you will find a very good example in Turkey, where the mosque that has been created there, Hagia Sophia, there the dictator of that country, the president of that country, he or she stated that even though there is a mosque and it is of a global figure, there should be a religious humility where people are not allowed to go in public and demonstrate religious traits openly. So even if it is a one religion state, then again the people there are not free to demonstrate their religion. So on that note, I would like to state that even though today in today's world there are so many countries which allows religious education to be professed, I would like to say that those are students with tender minds that learn from that education which is being given to them. And at that tender age, it is really difficult for those students to understand the concepts of religion, the concepts of life, the concept of the purpose of life. So if we are, and also it is very difficult for
Right.
secular states. Yeah, I'm just wrapping up. It is very difficult for the secular states to impart the knowledge of religion because there are so many religions to consider and profess the education to the students for. So that is how I'm going to conclude my statement for now.
So now I think you should start the rebuttal rounds, Sneh and Shankajit.
Yeah, Nay is going, isn't he?
Yes, sir. Sneh will be asking you questions.
Okay, okay.
Sneh, are you
Nay, do
there?
you?
Yeah,
Unmute, unmute.
am I audible now?
Yeah,
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 you
yeah.
are audible.
The Shankari, the point which you picked, like you talking about UK and the bifurcation and various forms of democracy and everything coming under existence. I was basically trying to state that incident where Galileo Galilei, he was in grave danger for his life because the impact of church was increasing in such a way. Robert Boyle had to write letters about his life that he's gonna die because of the increasing superiority of the church. What Masons basically did in the United States of America was that they used no concept of religion. They basically allowed an open system of people to exist together. That is where I was coming to, a society where there is the Masons basically the real inhabitants, the brainchild America comes from the Masons. They were the guys who brought America into picture, and their whole idea was that I will show that irony. The whole idea was that establish a society where there is openness. That is why America became such a center for development and advancements, and the you can see it simply. UK has become a second-rate country right now because of all the religious dominance which has been happening out there. Whereas on the other side, if you see, America right now is suffering from those things because, as it is said, America is moving away from the very philosophy it was built upon. That is laying the foundation of an open society where people are working on normal views, not dogmatic and pragmatic views. That was my first point, which I wanted to clear about religion. That America is a place which has got no official religion. And coming to secularism, like you spoke about Haji Sophia, right? You spoke about Haji Sophia and all the Istanbul stuff happening in Turkey. I would like to give you this instance that in Turkey out there, it's a place, Istanbul is a place where there is a very good commemoration point between the East and the West. Both worlds can come together at that point. In that place, also, you say that people are not happy, although one religion is running out there, right? Then what is the need to speak of such religion, although that religion is in majority, but it's not giving the people the happiness of life or the leisure of life? Although it's an Islamic country, people are going to the Islamic beliefs, but still the religion and the way it is being like curbed, it's not giving them happiness. So what's the point of preaching about such religion?
Okay, let me just clarify that we won't be getting another chance for rebuttal, is it? Like, it's done. The 1 minute 30 seconds allotted, it's done. Now it's my turn. Is that how it's going?
Yeah, it is going that way also only.
O- okay, fine. Okay. On that note, I would like to first start by stating that among the 42 dictatorial regimes that are present in today's world, more than half of the states are a single religion state. Okay, and we now see that how there is a direct relationship between dictatorial regimes with religion and the tendency of religion to take or seize power in the global sphere. We have seen this with Christianity, we have seen this with Islam. So just tell me one thing, how secular states are going to deal with this, how they're going to profess religious education, because religion is a very private thing. One. Second, the parents would definitely want to impart the religious education to their children and do not want the schools to do it, because the schools, they cannot, be biased based on one religion. What about that in single religion states where there is only one religion to profess? So suppose there are students, there are citizens of other religion, will they have to, they will be enforced to study that one particular religion and not the other religion, not the religion that they should have professed from their birth. Also, on that note, I would like to say that there is no free will of an individual to profess their religion. So, by introducing this education, religious education in schools, it just negates the entire point of view. So, now if individuals are not allowed to switch their religion from one to the other, and they are being allowed to, learn everything about every other religion, that too at a very tender age where they cannot grasp concepts of life, concepts of purpose of life. So how does it go on to help them? Because they have the knowledge of every religion, but they have to follow only one religion. So that's that. And uh, yeah, is my time over, or do I still have some time left?
Your time's up.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, so I would like to ask some questions. So my first question is to Isne.
Yes.
Isne?
Yes, I'm able to listen to you. Question, please.
Okay, so my question is, you said that we can learn also from Aurangzeb. So you don't think so that Aurangzeb was thinking about only himself and not for the people or his kingdom?
I did not get your the voice. Can you please repeat it again once, please?
You said in your points that we can learn from Aurangzeb also, we can learn from our leaders also. So don't you think that Aurangzeb was really selfish about himself and he didn't think about his people?
Quite a point. Now, it comes to this picture. In every religious story, we feel bad for a certain guy, right? Where was Karn wrong? But you say he's wrong. So can't you learn from Karn? You can learn from Karn. That's the whole point. The whole point of projecting something very good in totality is the actual problem which we are dealing with. So we say,
From my point of view, no, Kern was not wrong.
uh,
I don't think so that Kern was wrong. I think his situation was really awful.
yeah, so that was the point with Aurangzeb also. He saw his father squandering too much away on building buildings, right? A mausoleum for a black Taj Mahal, which was not needed at that time. People have different ways of reacting. Different people are different. That was just I'm telling that if we stop projecting a particular thing in totality, like religion is not good in its entire totality. It can't be just that way. If we say that Sanatan Dharma is the best, we are actually stopping the critical viewpoint of contemplating a thing. That is the biggest issue with teaching about religion. We are not given the liberty to be critical about religion. We can't question the religion. It's just that either it's brute learning, you just accept what is being given to you because of the fear. Oh my God, I'm speaking against my religion. I can't do this. I will lose my identity. Religion is not giving you an identity, but you barely following it in entire totality because it's good. That is actually making you lose your very own identity of questioning things the way you should question things.
Okay. So my next question is for Shankajit. So don't you think that if we get teaching of any religious thing in school, then we can compare things of different religions?
Okay, this was something I would have concluded my statement with, but I would like to clarify this question because it is of the utmost importance right now following my speech. So, firstly, if we are imparting too many religious, education to the students, firstly, confusion will arise, because even though most of the religion profess one basic thing, but then again the language in which the holy books have been written, or the philosophy behind these particular holy books, or the philosophies behind certain religions, they can be misinterpreted in a lot of ways. So this misinterpretation can be taken advantage of, as we see in a lot of terrorist activities. The philosophy behind a lot of terrorist groups, where these religious information are misinterpreted and imparted in different ways. So yes, the misinterpretation is something that really comes. Also, if there are too many religions being taught to students in schools, yeah, I'm just wrapping up. The teachers, they themselves would not be able to impart this education because they, on their part, do not know much about every religion. They only know about their religion. So a lot of confusion will arise if so many religion is being taught to the students.
Okay, so now you can, both can deliver your closing statements. Isne?
So the basic point is that we need to be critical about everything we are learning. We need to develop an aspect where we can study about different religions, but not in the way of imposing that a particular religion is superior, because that is what government bodies and institutions are doing these days. For their very own favor, they are trying to promote a particular religion is superior because it gave the world too many things. So that is the point where comparison comes into the picture. When we say that this particular religion gave us yoga, but this particular religion is good for nothing, that is the point where we start creating anarchy and very chaos in the society. We need to speak about the logical situations and how the people at that time reacted, or how the people we follow or look up to reacted in that situation, and be critical about it, rather than accepting, which is accepting something in its entire form or its entire totality without being critical. Because religion is nothing, it's like a blindfold to the masses. If they can't remove it, they will remain blind for ages and centuries if they are not being critical about it. That's the whole point. Be critical about what you learn, be it religion, be it science, be it whatever. You have to contemplate your religion because it is something you think that it gives you your identification. But the point is, your identification roots from your very doubts, but not from what you believe in. Because we believe in many things, but are we at ease? No. We are not at ease because we do not validate our doubts. And religion breeds many doubt in our minds. So we should be critical about it in that way.
Hmm. Okay. Shankajit, you may start now.
Yes, I would like to state that how things are being taught in to students in schools. Okay, so in schools there are basic steps in the schools follow in order to impart certain teachings to the students. And if religion is being taught, it would obviously be a very big syllabus, and the entire thing will be, you know, thrown at the students at one go. There won't be particular steps, and that will lead to confusion and misinterpretation, as I have already mentioned. So rather than the religion being taught in schools, I would say that as UK had it in their time, when it was a kingdom, religion should be taught by the church, and the church should not be meddling with the affairs of the state. So in this case, it's not the church, but the religious shelters in which these people go and take shelter to. So these religious shelters should not be specific enough to one religion, should not pertain to one specific religion, but a lot of it should cover a lot of religions. So religion should not be covered with by the educational institutions, but there should be specific separate religious shelters existing that should profess religion. That is how I'd like to conclude.